Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's Elk810 again, and I'm something. Hi. Anyways, I had this new idea for a video series where I see a lot of stuff on crowdfunding sites like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and I love to back them as much as I'm able to. But you know what? There's a whole lot of stuff there I like, and I don't have a lot of money for all that. I could barely sustain my own goals, let alone contribute money to somebody else's goals. So I thought I'd do a new video series where I talk about other people's crowdfunding efforts, see if I can find any obscure ones that a lot of people don't talk about, and then I'd plug them on my video series. So first off, I want to talk about one called Yatagarasu, Attack on Cataclysm? Yeah, Yatagarasu, Attack on Cataclysm. Now, some of you may remember the Skullgirls Indiegogo campaign, which I actually backed. Thankfully, it was a huge success. In fact, I've played the PC beta and it's awesome. The new character Squiggly is coming out really nicely. Well, Yatagarasu, just like Skullgirls, is an indie 2D fighting game, which is hoping to gather the same kind of success that Skullgirls was blessed with. Now, Yatagarasu is a Japanese fighter made by developers who previously worked at SNK Playmore on the King of Fighters series. I don't know which ones they worked on specifically, but I'm gonna assume they had a hand in King of Fighters 94 through 2002. Pretty much every, or at least most, of the King of Fighters games from the Neo Geo days. Now, I am a huge fan of the King of Fighters series. I've played every King of Fighters game ever, with the exception of Neo Wave, Maximum Impact, and KOF 12. The latter I like to pretend doesn't exist. Thankfully though, King of Fighters 13 came along, fixed everything up, and just put King of Fighters back on the map. So much so this game was even featured at EVO this year. Are the other two ones good, by the way? Anyways, this game is a little bit different from King of Fighters. Although it kind of looks the same, I feel like it's a mix of I'm gonna say the old King of Fighters, like the Nest Saga King of Fighters games, mixed with Street Fighter 3. It also uses classic sprite work that looks a lot like any game on the Neo Geo, but Yatagarasu is for PC only as far as I can tell. There's a few unique things going for it, like they have this dynamic commentary system where there's a voice commentating on the match and just talking about everything that goes on the minute it happens. Which, for a fighting game, that's a pretty ambitious move. Maybe some of you have played Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, the first one, before the cars could transform. That game also had a dynamic commentary system. And just like that game, you do have the option of turning it off in Yatagarasu. But what they also want to do is they want to clean up the graphics, refine the gameplay, and they want to add at least 2 more characters. And if they raise enough money, they're going to add more than 2 characters and allow people to vote on them, just like with Skullgirls. They also want Yatagarasu to be put into arcades. Yeah, the devs working on Yatagarasu are partnering with Taito in order to make an arcade version of Yatagarasu based on the Nessica X Live setup, whatever that is. Unfortunately, that's Japan only, which really sucks because that's another benefit you're not going to get for paying for it. But there's more, like let's see, the story is going to be rewritten, the online is going to be improved. As a matter of fact, if they raise enough money, they can get GGPO support for the online, instead of using the network code that they made from scratch. Now, some of you may remember GGPO as the near flawless system that powers the online multiplayer in fighting games like Skullgirls, as well as Capcom's recent arcade HD remasterings like Darkstalkers Resurrection and Dungeons & Dragons Chronicles of Mystaria. Now, on the Indiegogo site, they already have 2 characters shown, which they're going to add to the game assuming they hit their goals. One is Azure, or Azure, I don't know. It says he's supposed to be of half English and half Arabian descent, so it's probably Azure. And the other one is Kazama Kotaro, probably Japanese. So if these 2 characters look cool to you, then maybe you ought to consider donating. There's also 4 new characters besides those 2 that are going to be up for voting, assuming they can raise enough money. And they all look cool. I'm honestly not sure who I want to vote for, but like with Skullgirls, you are eligible to vote for donating at least $1 to the project. Now, currently, Yatakarasu is already available through the Japanese indie game site Niu Media, but currently the game is only in Japanese. They will have the game available in English after this Indiegogo upgrade. And currently, as of this recording, there is only 14 days to go, and they have raised $43,460 out of their goal of $68,000. There are a couple stretch goals. I've already mentioned the other characters and the GGPO support. GGPO will come if they can raise $73,000. There's going to be a new song for $75,000. Balancing refinements for the 8 existing characters already in the game. $117,000 for the 3rd new character, and $149,000 for the 4th. And there's a bunch of others here, and a whole bunch of stuff you can get for donating. You can get the game itself early, before it comes out. You can get the digital soundtrack, you can get an art book, you can have yourself or any character that you've made feature as a background NPC. You can get a physical copy of the soundtrack, some postcards, and of course they have a couple of custom rewards for tiers that are at least a donation of $180 or more. Like I said, I'm a huge King of Fighters fan, and I would gladly applaud any effort developers of the original King of Fighters games are working on, and I'm wishing them the best. I will certainly be backing this game, at least $10 so I can get the game, and hopefully this goes out well for them. I would really love to see this game come out. I would like to see it at fighting game tournaments like EVO, and I would pretty much just like to be able to play it on my own. Currently, this game is only in development for PC, but who knows if it's successful enough. And if it does come to arcades, it might come to other platforms soon as well. It might come to consoles, probably. It may come to the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One. Maybe, if we're lucky, there'll be a Mac or a Linux version eventually. And if we're especially lucky, it might even be on Wii U or Ouya or something. Either way, I would definitely love to play this game, and if you're not too sure about it, go look at the page for yourself, or heck, even buy the game on Niu Media and see what you think of Yatakarasu. But if you're a King of Fighters fan, or if you're a fan of any 2D fighting games, this will definitely be something to look into. Next up is another project that I've just discovered on Kickstarter today. This is for a webcomic series, or some kind of comic. The comic is called SOS Saga, or Scions of the Seraph, if you will, and it's a comic created by a Janine Galladay. If I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. But this is something she worked on since her senior year in high school in the late 90s. 97 to 98 to be exact. And it's still going strong today. This comic is about, let's see, a young goddess created 3 worlds and created life on every world. And then, for some reason, she felt betrayed by the life forms on this world. So she made all hell break loose for revenge. Great. Just great. Anyways, hundreds of years passed and the goddess isn't letting up anytime soon. But there was this very special girl born in a small light called the Seraph. And it's the Seraph's job to uncover what happened all those years ago and what exactly made the goddess so mad, and then try and bring a stop to all the chaos. I'm guessing here she has no idea that she's a seraph because it says that she needs to discover what the hell a seraph is. Now, the comic has gone through multiple revisions over the years, according to her, especially since at some point she couldn't draw it anymore due to developing multiple sclerosis, and she hired other artists to work on it for her. And now she wants to turn Scions of the Seraph, or SOS Saga, I'm just going to call it SOS Saga. She wants to turn it into a visual novel. I'm not sure if she's going to go through the exact same story of the comic through the visual novel or not, but either way, this visual novel idea would put you in the shoes of the Seraph. And she's promising you can become the Seraph, fall in love or not, no one's forcing you, and discover odd situations. So, it sounds like a great opportunity to shape this story in any sort of way, and just experience it from your own eyes as the hero of the story, the Seraph, if you will. Now, currently, most of the comic isn't online anymore, but she does have the original first volume up to download for free as a PDF format, and you can also buy volumes 2 and the original webcomic from her high school days. There's also a few pages from Chapter 2 available online, so you can go look at those pages and you can download the PDF files and see if this webcomic interests you. Personally, I kind of like the story. I haven't been able to read much, but I'm going to download the first volume. And it sounds like making this into a visual novel is a pretty ambitious task for a webcomic that she created. Now, she already has a writer, a few artists, and a programmer she wants to work on this, and she needs the money in order to hire them for their work. Currently, the project has, 32 days. 32 days to go as of this recording. And it's raised $325 out of a goal of $1,200. So this is a pretty humble goal. She is not asking for much. So I recommend you check out SOS Saga for yourself. I have the website as well as the Kickstarter below. See if you like it, and if you're interested in playing this as a visual novel in the guise of, say, I don't know, I don't play a lot of visual novels, but one that I have played is Katawa Shoujo. Now, I really, really like Katawa Shoujo, and I don't know if this is going to be exactly like that, but it's going to be very similar. Now, some of the rewards that you get for backing this include the digital copy of the webcomic and the original chapter, and you can get these by backing SOS Saga, the visual novel, for a price that's actually lower than you would have to pay for either of these books from her website. You can also get a digital art book. You can get a hard copy of the game. You can get a character poster. And you can also get a 30-page side story comic. Currently, there are no stretch goals. Now, since it doesn't need much money and the requirements for the rewards are pretty low, they actually don't go above $100, I will be backing this myself. At least donate $5, because I'd like to see this come to fruition. But all I can recommend is read the comic for yourself, and if you're impressed, maybe set aside some money for this, and I'm sure it's going to be great. There's 32 days to go, so I really don't see how this can't pass, unless a lot of people aren't really well informed, which is why I'm making this. So, thank you very much. So that's it for all the Kickstarters that I want to bring to your attention. And I would like to try making videos about crowdfunding efforts at least every week. Since today's Sunday, I'll probably do it every Sunday. But that's not a promise that I can do it every week. There's going to be a few times where I can't do it. Because maybe I'm busy, maybe I can't find any interesting crowdfunding efforts, but I'll try my best. Actually, next week I'm going to be going on vacation for 2 weeks, so I might not be doing this for a while. But if you have any Kickstarters or any Indiegogo projects or any crowdfunding efforts that are on any site other than Kickstarter or Indiegogo that you'd like someone to bring to people's attention, you can let me know and I'll see what I can do. I'm going to be focusing mainly on more obscure crowdfunding efforts that don't get a lot of attention on other news sites. I'd like to focus on projects based on games, video games, and tabletop games, and art, because those are two of the things usually on these kind of sites that I'm most interested in. But if you have anything else that falls under any other category, you can always tell me about it, and I'll see if it interests me enough to talk about it. So this is Elk810, and I'll make another video when I make another video. Have a good day, everyone.